All right, you primitive screwheads, listen up. This is my
Kinky Tauntaun.
Shields up, Captain.
This landing is gonna get pretty interesting. Define interesting. Oh God, we're all gonna die?
Perhaps today is a good day to die.
Someone ever tries to kill you, you try to kill him right back.
Control. You must learn control.
We are controlling transmission.
Captain, incoming message.
Also, I can kill you with my brain.
Make it so.
The Kinky Tauntaun.
This may smell good, but I want it. I thought they smelled bad on the outside.
Bono, we grana, we mini bomb, Jeffrey. That's the universal greeting. Because this is episode 14 of the Kinky Tauntaun Transformers, the movie, 30th anniversary special.
That is from the Transformers movie. I was like, I just heard that. Where did I just hear that?
Because it's, oh my God. I can see we're starting off with gangbusters here. Anyway, Jeffrey, so we are here to celebrate the 1986 cult classic Transformers, the movie.
That was him shooting Ironside in the face.
That was what?
That was him shooting Ironside in the face with the 80s hairband in the background.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the soundtrack alone is classic. Not to say much of anything else. I mean, it even has your boy Weird Al.
Yes, I noticed that. What is it, Dare to be Stupid?
Dare to be Stupid.
I'm like, holy shit. I'd completely forgotten that Weird Al was in this.
Yep. But anyway, so are we going into this? Or do we have anything we need to say before we launch into our Transformers special?
I was under orders. I just rewatched it a week or so ago, and my wife came home, and she watched a little bit of it with me, and she's like, I can see where this is better than the other ones, than the Michael Bay ones.
Well, that goes without saying, Jeffrey. Oh, my God. All right. Well, anyway, so let's start with our Transformers history lesson. And this goes back to something near and dear in our childhoods, Jeffrey.
Yes.
That far back. 1984, I would have been around the age of 6, and even before I'd ever watched a cartoon, I remember going to the Kmart in a close by town and picking up. I didn't even know what it was. I'm like, it's a little car that turns into a robot. Awesome. So the first Transformer I ever remember buying and playing with is Brawn. I don't know if you remember him from the cartoon or not, but that's who that was. Of course, I had like no relationship with the actual character yet. And I don't think I remember watching the cartoon for a little while after that. And once I did see the cartoon, however, man, it was game on for loving the Transformers.
I think my first one was Bumblebee, because he was the cheapest.
Right. That's why I had Brawn. It was the smallest ones you can get.
Yeah.
I remember they used to cost like $2.99 at Kmart back in the day.
But I eventually got Optimus Prime.
Optimus Prime, the holy grail of Transformers.
And I also had the big ass space shuttle one that turned into a dragon.
Big ass space shuttle one that turned into a dragon?
Yeah.
You're talking that? First of all, sir, that's Skylinks.
Okay.
And he does not turn into a dragon. He's a pterodactyl thing and a lynx. That's why it's Skylinks.
Oh, okay.
He's a dinosaur.
Well, I knew it was some four-legged creature that, because the platform
Right. No, you would have had several other, because that actually did not come out until after the movie came out.
I had Ironside. I had Grimlock. Ironhide, sorry. I had
not to be confused with the actor Michael Ironsides.
I had Grimlock.
Of course. I had the Grimlock, Optimus Prime. I'm trying to think of the earliest ones that I remember getting. I remember having Bombshell, one of the Insecticons. And man, like I just remember, like, they were small enough to smuggle to school, because like you weren't really supposed to have toys at school, but with Transformers they were small enough you could like get away with it and play with them on the playground.
I remember probably my favorites were Optimus Prime, and the other favorite toy from that was Soundwave.
Oh, Soundwave, yes.
And I used to bring the little ones. I used to bring the little itty bitty ones that, the discs. The
cassette tapes.
Yeah, to school.
The discs. Man, it has been a while for you, hasn't it? By the time that Transformers was premiering, I didn't even know if the compact disc had been invented.
Let me see.
Anyway, as far as history goes, it came out of Japan, and I think I remember reading this, that they actually premiered in the Marvel Comic Limited series first, and then Hasbro basically like negotiated the rights, made the cartoon, or they were it was all meant to come out fairly simultaneously. And of course, once the cartoon hit, the comic that was only supposed to be a 4-issue limited series, was continued on past issue 4, and it was supposed to, the comic series, the cartoon series that we were familiar with up until the time of the movie in 1986 was 2 seasons. But you think like, oh shit, Transformers only lasted 2 seasons before they had to change everything.
Yeah.
But I swear, like, those 2 seasons, if you were actually to go into IMDb or whatever, each season has like 30 episodes, some ridiculous amount of episodes.
That's what it used to be.
I realize that these are only meant to be like 30-minute, or even not even like 25-minute toy commercials. But by the time they were hitting it, man, basically by the time the movie came along, they had established a mythology within the show, and I didn't really read the comic books or anything back then, although I do remember getting 1 or 2 from time to time. It was something that sort of defined my childhood. Like, that was my one thing. I mean, yeah, I played with G.I. Joe. Yeah, I played with some other things. Like, that was the one thing. Like, I remember going to your house when we were kids and like whipping open your toy box and getting all your like Skylinks out and Soundwave out. I remember you had Blitzkrieg. Like, you basically, I'd gravitate towards the ones that I didn't have.
Well, yeah, of course.
That I could play with.
And I did the same thing when I was at your house.
Right. So we would, we would love to play with each other's Transformers, and I mean, those are some of my fondest memories, and just coming up with our own stories and ideas, and I think that fostered our imaginations in a very healthy and productive way that I don't quite think cartoons do as much these days, which is funny because, like I said, when these things came out, the FCC had to change some laws because they would air these cartoons, and in between the cartoons, they would show you nonstop G.I. Joe and Transformers commercials.
Oh, yeah. So,
like, you'd go from cartoon, Transformer commercial. And so even the commercials, like, fuck yeah, Transformers commercials. Or G.I. Joe commercials, whatever it was. And, of course, that became illegal.
Oh, really?
After that. Yeah. You couldn't market the same toys that you were... I mean, basically, because they were infomercials at that point.
Well, you're talking about, cartoons not fostering imagination. There are some every once in a while, like
there are,
like Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh, but that's old too, man. By modern standards.
Well, it's still
that's like 10 years ago, Jeff. I mean,
really?
Those kids have all grown up.
Holy crap, we're old.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
But another thing I remember about Transformers is my brother would always cheat when we played Transformers. He would always...
How can you cheat?
He would... there was some kind of substance that was in cubes that they found that made them kind of invulnerable in the show. Do you remember that?
No.
Well, there was one episode where they found this stuff that was in, like these energy cubes, and it.
I remember the one episode they had like the Golden Lagoon, and they would dip in the Golden Lagoon and become invulnerable.
I might be confusing two episodes, but yes, that was it. He would always find whatever that substance was called.
Oh my God. I don't know. It was just Beachcomber found the Golden Lagoon, man.
It's like, fuck you. I don't want to play with you anymore.
Well, to your brother's significantly older than you. I'm surprised he was actually even trying to play with you at that point.
I think he was just trying to fuck with me at that point.
I mean, yeah. I would have to say there'd be no other reason in it for him other than just to fuck with you.
Which he used to love to do.
Yeah. Well, anyway. So your favorite Transformers to play with?
Soundwave.
Optimus Prime probably had to be number one.
Optimus Prime and Soundwave, because
I know you even had the trailer that came, like, it would split open and have like a little base. You'd have wheels that would come out.
Yeah, that was really
and you could like hit a button and he would roll out. And transform and roll out. All right, here's a question for you. When you were playing and you were transforming them, did you ever do like a super slow motion?
Of course. And I would try to do it as quickly as possible I could match so I could try to do it at the proper speed,
Okay, I don't know if I could ever do it really that fast, because if you were transforming a Transformer that fast, it probably was as loose as your mom's vagina or something, because
hey.
Oh, well, I mean, in your particular.
My brother and I were born.
Vagina.
My brother and I were born cesarean. So there.
Oh, okay. I mean, somebody's mom's vagina. It's like throwing a hot dog down an empty hallway.
But I used to just, like, when we were on long trips, we'd drive out to Washington State. Or drive out to Arizona, and I would just be in the back with the Transformer, just transforming it, untransforming it, transforming it,
fucking day long.
So I got pretty fast on some of them.
Oh, okay.
To where I could almost do it as fast as the show.
I remember playing with your Soundwave. It was pretty loose.
Yeah.
It was as loose as someone's mother's vagina.
Well, Soundwave, not only do you look pretty cool, but Transformer with inside a Transformer.
I know. I mean, Ravage and Frenzy and Rumble and all that shit. Oh, yeah. Wait. Did you ever try to, like, simulate the voices from the cartoon?
Almost. You know me, I like voices and stuff, so almost assuredly.
I know. Okay. I was like, I think I remember doing this as a child, but, transform and roll out, Autobots. Something like that.
I am Optimus Prime.
There we go. All right. So we're there. So anyway, by the time that the movie came out in 1986, we would have been roughly 8 years old. And I mean, that was really sort of like the golden age for me. I mean, a lot of people love the ones pre-movie. However, there was something about the Transformers the movie, even though I didn't see it in the theater. I had to see it on VHS. No, you know what? I actually think I saw on like a disc player. Like, that's how far back it goes. What would have been several months after it came out in September of '86.
One of those technology that was so obscure that everyone's wait a minute. Oh yeah, that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I remember watching The Hobbit, Transformers the movie, and Labyrinth, which the 30th anniversary for that is also this year. Anyway,
3 good movies.
Say what?
3 very good movies.
Damn good movies. Anyway, so like I just remember after the movie came out, the show changed, and so what came on in the fall of would that have been 4th grade, 3rd grade?
About the time we started hanging out.
Yeah, it was about the times that we started becoming best buds or whatever, is when the whole like thing shifted over, where you did have like Skylinks and Springer and RC. You actually had a female Transformer regularly on the show.
And of course, what color was she?
Prime, Ultra Magnus.
What color was the female Transformer?
Pink. Of course. I mean, and of course they never made a toy for her. I wanted an RC toy. I thought that would have been cool.
They never made a toy for her? What a big fuck you.
I know, right?
It's like, I know we finally made a girl, but hey, fuck you. You're not going to buy it.
It's like, and Hasbro's still fucking stuff up 30 years later with the Ray toys.
Oh, yes. They're going to want to play with the bad guy more.
No. Whatever. Okay. Anyway, so like, I remember like those are the shows that I really remember grabbing hold of the mythology, because if you remember the actual like Rodimus, Ultra Magnus episodes, they were living on Cybertron, not as much on not as many of the shows took place on Earth, so it was much more science fiction oriented than what we had seen before, which I didn't realize back then that was my thing, but oh my god, that was totally my thing. Like I adored that the science fiction, full blown hard sci-fi sort of aspect to it, and a lot of the episodes were were spacefaring and going around with, having like various alien contact and things like that.
See, I don't remember those as much. I really don't remember those as much.
Really?
No, I don't know why.
That is a damn shame. I mean, there was even one episode.
Brain.
Say what?
You know my fucked up brain.
Yeah, you got memory issues. it's head trauma. I don't know, whatever.
I did get kicked in the head a lot.
I know. That's what I'm saying, right? A few too many concussions that you just didn't know about. Whatever. Anyway, so like I remember like there's some of those episodes were really dark. There was even one episode that was sort of a thinly veiled zombie episode.
Really? Cool.
I don't know if you remember that one.
No.
Like they were going down to the heart of Cybertron, and several and then, like I remember the best episodes were always the ones where the Autobots and the Decepticons had to team up against something. And so like they're going to the heart of Cybertron to find I forget what the fuck it was, but like Galvatron's leading them, and like Springer's with them, and a bunch of the other Autobots, and like Cyclonus and whatnot. And like each time these other things, these like tendrils would touch them, they'd become like zombie Transformers, and they'd touch the other ones. And of course, that sort of culminated with that one, like the Return of Optimus Prime episode later on, where you had like the red spores. I mean, that was straight up a zombie-esque sort of episode. Actually, it was a two-parter, but whatever.
I have almost no memory of any of this. So,
Jeffrey, maybe it's time for you to revisit, sir.
I was going to say, maybe next time I come over, we can watch some.
Absolutely. They did have them on Netflix for the longest time, but they took them off like a year or two ago.
Ah, bastards.
So, well, I mean, it stands to reason they'd put them back on, right?
Well, you never know. Sometimes they take shit off and it's just gone.
Gone for like Dead Like Me. I think Dead Like Me was on there several years ago, and it's never been back since.
That's an awesome show. It was so.
It is
moist.
Oh, nice. All right, so Jeffrey, Transformers the movie, that's what we're here to talk about, the 30th anniversary. I will tell you this. I have pre-ordered my 30th anniversary Blu-ray disc, which should be here on, I think, the 12th of September. And I am actually purposely not rewatching it because I want to put it in the Blu-ray and just experience it for the very first time.
Is there any extra stuff on the Blu-ray?
Yeah, there's supposed to be a bunch of extras with it. Of course, that's the thing. And that's one of the things I want to talk about when we talk about this movie, is, you compare the show, the old show, to what's come out since. I remember in the late 90s you had Beast Wars, which a lot of people loved. I think I actually kind of liked it. I just didn't really like the fact that it was too different than the old stuff.
I never watched it.
Then you had like you had robots in disguise in the early aughts, and then you have like Transformers Prime, I think, is what one of the most recent incarnations is, which I don't know, say what you will, but I was not very interested.
So should I check out any of those?
No.
Okay.
I hear good things about Beast Wars. I know a lot of people loved Beast Wars. I think I kind of dug it. I was just pissed because it wasn't the real thing, you know?
Okay.
It has its own mythology, its own thing going on, and you sort of have to view it as like an alternate reality version of those characters or whatever. Which is, you know, like if you read the comic books back in the day versus the cartoon.
Universe.
Say what?
It's the Kelvin universe.
Oh, it's the Kelvin universe. Like the comic book version and the cartoon version never matched up very well at all. There were characters that with different colors. I mean, they were closer to what were the toys, and there were characters who did things that they never would have done in the show and whatever.
Well, there's like the Ninja Turtle comic books. Like the Ninja Turtle comic books were like really violent, and they weren't robots that were cutting up and.
Okay. So anyway, let's talk about the actual movie, Jeffrey.
Yes.
You just rewatched it. And your wife noticed, and I'm guessing you did as well, that yes, in fact, not only does it withstand the test of time, it's actually a pretty good movie.
Yeah, I would lose some of the hair metal music a little bit.
Well, some of it fits really well. I would not. You got the touch. You got the power.
That was one I'd lose, most definitely.
No, Jeff. God damn it. God damn you. We can never lose that song.
And even though I really like Weird Al, it was kind of a strange choice.
It's because it's Weird Al. Like, hey, we'll throw some Weird Al in. People like him. Which is funny because I actually think that song has surpassed the original. Because nobody remembers Devo's Dare to Be Different, but everybody remembers Weird Al's.
Yeah, I don't.
Dare to Be Stupid.
Like, that wasn't an original? What?
No. Yeah, man, I totally dig that soundtrack. In fact, it was funny because I was watching like 80s Weekend on it must have been like Esquire TV or something a few weeks ago, whatever the hell it was. And they were like showing a bunch of 80s movies, but in the promo, the ads for The Weekend, they were playing that You Got the Touch, You Got the Power. You know, it's called The Touch by Stan Bush on the soundtrack, but it's only from that movie. I'm like, yes, Transformers lives on, baby. Hello? Okay. Anyway,
I was listening in rapture.
Is that what it was? Because
yes.
you had the touch, you had the power, but you lost it somewhere along the way. Anyway, no, I mean Dare, that's a great song too. I love that stuff. You know, I love 80s music. Anyway, so one of the things I guess I'm really excited about with the Blu-ray is like even watching like the VHS, you got a fairly firm understanding on how that movie was animated, and then you found like I think I even mentioned this. I think it was like a G chat or whatever, but the famous anime Akira came out 2 years after that, and that's basically seen as like this anime masterwork.
Yeah, it's one of the most famous,
I would dare say that Transformers the movie, which of course was animated by the Japanese, I say it's right up there with Akira as far as like art style and presentation. Because
considering I like the Transformers movie better than I liked Akira, so
I do too. Although I do like Akira, I think this Blu-ray is really just gonna blow it all to hell. I mean, that's what I'm thinking, because I saw I don't know if you watched the YouTube video with the promo for the Blu-ray, and it just looks fucking phenomenal. Like they were doing that back in 1984, 1985, with, hold on, I gotta yell some children. Girls!
Has to happen at least once every episode.
Anyway, I forgot where it was. The Blu-ray. So if you watch the YouTube video with the promo for the Blu-ray release here, I guess next week now, it looks phenomenal. And not only does it hold up to the test of time, that shit still blows my mind with how good it looks. Like, CGI has nothing on the beauty of the animation in the original Transformers the movie.
Oh yeah, I think it would have looked better. Oh wait, we'll save this for the Michael Bay rant.
Oh,
we'll save it because I was about ready to go into it.
Well, anyway, the one I'm gonna say next is like I realize, like, it does take some notes from other movies. I'm not completely oblivious to that.
Which ones?
However, I will say that it does a pretty damn good job of imitating. Okay,
which ones?
More flattery.
Which ones?
Okay, Star Wars.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the whole part where like Rodimus is on that ship with Cup and the Dinobots. Like, you can basically say that the Dinobots are like Chewbacca, R2, and C-3PO, and Hot Rod at that point is Luke Skywalker. There's even a part where he puts on a helmet and he has like a lightsaber, and Cup is the grizzled old war veteran.
That's true.
Oh yeah, and then I remember now we inverted polarities. Like, he's kind of like Obi-Wan, Han Solo wrapped up into one.
Yes, true. That's true.
So, like, I appreciate that, though. It works. It also features voice acting. Are you ready? Judd Nelson playing Hot Rod.
Yep.
You remember who Judd Nelson is?
Don't you?
Yes. Ye of Breakfast Club fame, amongst many, many others. One of the Brat Pack, as it were, back then. So he was a big name attached to this movie. It features Leonard Nimoy as Galvatron, the guy who, the Transformer who was Megatron and changed his shape by the ultimate villain, Unicron.
Yep.
Voiced by Leonard Nimoy.
Yes.
Robert Stack from back in the day, Unsolved Mysteries. So.
Oh, that guy? Who did he play?
Yeah, he did Ultra Magnus's voice.
Okay.
Of course, Susan Blue, who actually, I think she was one of the few people they retained from the movie up through the show, because a lot of these guys didn't have the same voices on the television show, obviously. Mm-hmm. But it actually has Orson Welles. It was Orson Welles' final performance as the villain Unicron, the planet-eating monster transformer who comes out and tries to chomp Cybertron there towards the end. It also featured a swear word, which in the cartoon back then was a big deal.
Yeah, I noticed that. I'm like, whoa, holy shit.
I know. He said shit. Shit.
And the wanton destruction of that planet in the beginning. And it's like, all these happy little robots, sentient robots. Let's kill them all.
That's like the first 30 seconds of the movie.
And it's like, but one guy survived. He'll carry on there. No, he won't.
No.
He gets eaten by shark robots or some shit like that.
Sharktacons, Jeffrey. God damn it. I'm going to have to put you through Transformers boot camp, Jeff. One more fuck up like that, we're going to school. Transformers school.
You're gonna attach wheels to me and like tuck that arm. No, bend it the other way.
Yep, that's where we're going. That's what we're doing. Anyway, I think that's one of the reasons why I found that movie to be so profound is because 8, 9 years old watching that movie, and then forward through time, the first several minutes of the film is death.
Yeah.
And then about 20 minutes in the film, like, all your fucking favorite Transformers die.
Yeah.
With the exception of like 2.
Well, just the way they just took out people, like some of the just biggest characters from the show so willy-nilly.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. If you think about it, when they would have had to start animating the movie, they would have had to start planning for Optimus Prime's death basically the same time that Optimus Prime was premiering on TV.
Wow.
So that wasn't like that thing was planned out from the beginning.
Wow.
Of course, they resurrected the character or whatever, but still, that whole part where Megatron's on the ship and he just wastes Ratchet, and Ironhide comes up, crawls up to him, and he's like, such heroic nonsense.
Such heroic nonsense.
Ooh, you channeled your Frank Welker there. Nice. And he blows him right in the face. And that's the end of our dear friend Ironhide. Not to mention all the other Transformers who aren't actually voiced, but you're like, oh shit, that's Jazz. Oh shit, that's Ratchet. Oh shit, that's Wheeljack. Yeah. Oh goddamn, they killed Wheeljack. Anyway,
that was a little shocking. Yes, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure my little 7-year-old, 8-year-old heart was crushed.
Oh wait, Jazz dies later. I'm sorry, he dies when the moon, they're dropping them into the lava or whatever the hell that was. Anyway, so yeah, that's it. You have Spike, he was basically a teenager, 18-year-old, whatever, during the show, was an adult during the show. And I think like the beginning the lead in from the voice that we actually hear on the TV show from time to time, he would say like, the year is 2005. And everybody's like, oh shit, 2005, that's so far in the future.
Yeah.
We could totally be in space with the Transformers by then.
Especially all the because Back to the Future was just put on Netflix a little while ago.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, 2015, get flying cars, and we're going to have
still waiting for the fucking skateboards. Yep. Anyway.
I guess we do kind of have hoverboards, but they only work on metal, so...
Well, if you could have your own special course, it might work out, but whatever. Anyway, all right, Jeff. So I found it a profoundly affecting movie, and it's funny that, I'm a cinemaphile. I love movies, and I would actually put Transformers the movie in my all-time top 25. That's how much I love that movie.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wouldn't, but I respect your choice.
You go ahead and abort those babies, sir. I respect your choice.
Are we ready for the Michael Bay rant?
Well, I already pre-recorded it. Once the novelty of robots wears off, it's hopelessly insipid. ComingSoon.net. Films directed by Michael Bay are usually like being shouted at by a half-wit for 2.5 hours, and Transformers is no exception. The Times of London. Punishingly boring. Filmcritic.com. Eager to get myself into the right mindset for Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, I turned to the multiplex patron sitting next to me and politely asked him to slam my head against the forward seat back. Film Comment Magazine. An impossibly incomprehensible, overlong cacophonous bore. Christian Science Monitor. If Bay has one consistent artistic inclination other than the lowest common denominator, it's his obsession with fascistic imagery. Pace Magazine. A painful blend of overproduced action and shameless exposition. Killer Movie. Michael Bay knows how to spoil any film he touches. Cinema Site. I have never felt more like a third nipple than I did as a screenwriter watching Michael Bay's new movie, Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. Hitflix. An overlong ordeal devoid of excitement and intrigue. Big Hollywood. This movie is actively making the world a worse place to live. I'm certain Michael Bay considers it his masterwork. Deadspin. intensely juvenile, casually sexist, and blatantly stupid. Groucho reviews. It takes a certain talent to create as much action as Bay does without generating an ounce of excitement. Movie Metropolis. Michael Bay's latest foray into endless vapor dissonance in Transformers Dark of the Moon. This time out, we sit through 2.5 hours of CGI. Complete, god-awful inanity. TonyMacklin.net. Are there any ideas here other than to make more than $1.5 billion? What is the point of a Michael Bay movie? The Observer. Bay's fascistic tendencies aren't quite as pronounced in the last installment, but there isn't anything this man won't do for the sake of arousing himself. Creative loafing. A rambling mess of bastardized newsreel footage, over-stylized CGI talking toy joust, and light-hearted scenes with the comedic timing of Dick Cheney's pacemaker. Richmond.com. Transformers have souls, this movie repeatedly tells us. But does Michael Bay? Commercial appeal. Seemingly written by a 13-year-old boy and directed by his walking erection, this one is nothing but a booming pile of rubble. Film school rejects. At the center of our galaxy is a supermassive black hole. Not even light can escape from its powerful gravitational pull. And not even that sucks as much as this movie. The Mercury. Preferable to syphilis. Creative loafing. A new franchise low featuring flailing actors, dull, incomprehensible action, and murderous Autobots that act like whiny, petulant dicks. SFX Magazine. Even by the low IQ standards of the 3 previous Transformers films, Transformers Age of Extinction is grave and exceptionally stupid, with a plot as bewildering and incoherent as a caffeinated 5-year-old's explanation of the multiverse theory. And here we go with the Michael Bay rant. Dear Mr. Michael Bay, in a world fraught with terrorist threats, racial divisions, and seeming promises of real honest-to-goodness impending doom, it's difficult to contextualize the defamation, nay, the abject despoilment of beloved fictional characters. Yet it's the fiction and characters that give us refuge. Just ask the practitioners of the world's major religions. Too much? Probably yes. But to discount how many meaningful characters can be to people is the very height of hubris. Furthermore, to take iconic characters and somehow shape them into the punchline that parallels one's own vacuous, irrelevant career is the greatest offense of all. When Transformers debuted in 1984, the cartoon and even the comic books were instant sensations. Children across the U.S., Canada, Britain, along with a number of other places I should not expect, clamored for the toys for which the cartoon was essentially a half-hour toy commercial for. One went from playing with Hot Wheels and Stompers to shoving them aside for the same thing that could somehow change into a sentient, personality-filled robot. I remember with each Transformer I got as a kid, poring over the pamphlet that it came with for glimpses of all the Transformers Hasbro had in store. Sure, there was some lust, some coveting, but ultimately when it came to it, it was the characters. It was the characters that I wanted. You see, the Transformers, just as the title implies, were more than what met the eye. They were toys sold to youngsters through the show, but somehow something happened along the way. With solid voice acting, someone also started to take pride in the storytelling. Sometime during its initial first season run, it transcended commercial and became full-blown mythology. Lessons that taught like the best the Greeks had to offer about community, about hubris, and even mortality. The Jungian archetypes were all represented. Joseph Campbell, had he had the chance to get to know the Transformers, surely would have been proud. Then, in 1986, the game changed even further. Transformers the movie was released in September 1986. Optimus Prime died, Ratchet was dismembered, Ironhide was shot in the face, Starscream was blown to smithereens. Oh, and it had voice acting from the likes of Leonard Nimoy, Robert Stack, Judd Nelson, Eric Idle, and the very final performance of one Orson Welles. Now, I acknowledge it used Star Wars as a crib sheet, but you know what? It pulled it off. Do I glimpse the film through the lens of nostalgia? Of course I do. However, I would contend that now, 30 years later, it more than withstands the test of time. The stunningly beautiful animation alone is perhaps second only to Katsuhiro Otomo's Akira, which, mind you, actually appeared 2 years later. Even Transformers' soundtrack was something to be proud of. Sell toys? Maybe. But the script was also trying to say something important. It introduced into the Transformers mythos the Autobot matrix of leadership, a sort of computerized repository of all the Autobots' wisdom and knowledge throughout the eons. It planted the seeds in my young, fertile mind that what we needed to light our darkest hour was what we found inside ourselves. The wisdom and learning of those who came before us, coupled with our own unwillingness to go gentle into the good night. It meant something. To me, it meant the world. 2007 was a busy time in my life. I traveled extensively that year. On top of that, my first daughter was born the day before Michael Bay's first Transformers film came out. With my newborn daughter and wife in the hospital still, I took my stepson to see the film because the classic Transformers cartoon movie and toys, which I'd bequeathed to him, made a fan out of him too. It was okay. It had action, but it lacked the heart of even the most mundane of the old shows. The Transformers themselves were turned into fragile metallic insectoids beset with unpleasant stereotypes. My stepson liked it because it had Optimus, and things went kablooey. He was 5. By the time Revenge of the Fallen was released, all that was wrong with the first film had percolated into my consciousness, and I felt no desire to see the new film. These were not my Transformers. Still, when it came to DVD, I watched it. I turned it off somewhere midway through, somehow full of action, yet utterly devoid of substance. Plus, it was loud enough and stupid enough to make my head ache for days. I never even watched the third film, or the fourth, as each tanked critically. Yet for some reason, well, China's probably the reason, but that's a topic for another day, they keep allowing Michael Bay to make these horrible movies that are in some way analogous to my beloved Optimus Prime, Grimlock, Ratchet, Hound, and so forth. So bereft of inspiration is Michael Bay that this 5th movie now is entitled The Last Night, because, apparently Transformers somehow copied Earth's medieval feudal system back home on Cybertron. So, this is what I say to you, Mr. Michael Bay. I do not wish harm to befall you. However, I do wish that you would see that making movies is not your talent. Unmaking them, perhaps is, but that is more a curse than a talent. I need you to see that you offer nothing to the mythology of Transformers, nothing even to our own repository of wisdom. What you bring is an odd mixture of nihilistic masturbation. Your brand of exploitation is shameful, sir, and although I do not wish to make light of the actual plight of those victimized by rape, I must say this. You have managed to repeatedly pillage my and so many others' childhoods. How you manage to sleep at night is bewildering. So for this, I must say, fuck you, sir. Fuck you sideways. Fuck you all night long by a 400-pound trucker named Lenny with poor hygiene and his 4-inch thick erect dick beset with herpes and syphilis. Fuck you so very, very much. As for the rest of us, maybe one day we'll get the treatment of the Transformers that it deserves. Until then,
let this mark the end of the Cybertronian Wars as we march forward to a new age of peace and happiness. Till all are one! Till all are one! Till all are one! You got the power.
An Unicron. Show yourself. I have summoned you here for a purpose. Nobody summons Megatron. Then it pleases me to be the first.
Yeah. Just one of the things that really bugged me about the movies were the lack of distinguishing characteristics. Like
of the Michael Bay Transformers movie. Okay, you're gonna have to be specific because I think everything about the Michael Bay films lacks any ability to be distinguished. The Transformers themselves all look basically the same.
Yeah.
They even the colors. I don't know if you notice this, but a lot of times when they transform, they're all like a gray or black underneath whatever vehicle color they are.
Yeah, whereas in the show, you could definitely tell it was
they
like
retained their color, shape, parts of the whatever vehicle or whatever they were as part of the thing. But it's interesting how the Michael Bay Transformers transform,
and maybe
they basically lose all that.
Maybe if Michael Bay, this is another part that I'm going to complain about. All the fighting and action, like most of it was so close, you couldn't really tell what was going on. It's like,
you're right. It was badly choreographed, but I would also say this: it also makes up for 85% of every single film.
Yeah, but especially Transformers, because they all look the same, and then you have such a tight shot, and you can't quite tell who the fuck is killing who at that particular moment.
No,
it gets really annoying.
And here's the question: do you care?
Just imagine if he filmed it differently, and if they would have looked more like the colorations they had in the cartoon. If he would have panned out a little bit, and they had different colorations.
Okay, well that just got. I mean, I would say that Jeff, just the script. It's actually the first movie was written by Kurtzman and Orsi, who did the Star Trek reboot as well as some of the Lost show and whatnot. So they should have been better. The first one anyway. The first one's okay. I can kind of deal with the first one, and in the second one, I don't even think I've seen the third one, but I actually ended up shutting off the second one about an hour in because it was just blowing shit up nonstop.
I think the third one might be better than the second one. It's been a while since I've even bothered to watch them, so. And most of them I've only seen once, and that was
like I said, in the research for my rant, I went through Rotten Tomatoes and found those little quips from reviewers, and the general, I guess, appraisal of the franchises, they do in fact get progressively worse as the ratings go progressively down. I think the original one had like a 60% approval rating, which is decent. And then it just goes down to, I think the last one, it was Extinction, Age of Extinction, whatever the hell it was.
I haven't even seen it, so.
Oh, yeah, it's like 12% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow.
So. Yeah, we don't want to piss off the DC fanboys because apparently they're not aware that it's an aggregate website that just takes reviews from around the country and around the world. But apparently it's universally despised, this franchise.
Like I said, I hate the movies where the action is so close you can't tell what the hell is going on.
Well,
because
that's the
I'm
thing.
a fighting aficionado, so I actually want to see what's going on. I'm not excited by they're moving really close to each other.
It's CGI though too. How good is that necessarily going to be?
Well, I don't know how much motion capture.
I would dare
say,
and if you can even think to the Transformers cartoon episodes that you remember best, it was never like a hand-to-hand combat thing that made it a good episode.
Yeah, but they did a lot of that
storytelling.
They did a lot of that in the movie, though, so they should have done it better.
Well, obviously, that's the thing. Michael Bay he's a quack, dude. He was not up to task back then. He isn't up to it now. You've got a new movie coming out next summer, The Last Night. So I love how the Michael Bay Transformers are so devoid of inspiration that they're like co-opting fucking Arthurian legend. I mean, what's that?
Yeah,
I mean, are we gonna have like a Tale of Two Cities Transformers style next, or you know what I'm waiting for is a Transformers Christmas Carol.
Well, I think what
With
Michael
Megatron
Bay
as Scrooge.
I think what Michael Bay would say to my complaints about how he filmed stuff is like, no, it's not about the fighting, it's about the action and the disorientation. And it's like,
because if you were watching it in real life, you'd still be all that way.
It sounds like a person who has never been in a fight.
I would probably tend to. Well, I don't know. Maybe he has been now, because I think a lot of people would like to fight him now because these movies are trash.
I mean, you are disorientated, but you also can see what's going on. I don't know. It just annoys me that
fighting aside as well. I mean, okay, the fighting is bad. The CGI is sloppy. I actually would think that that's more sloppy CGI, because when it comes down to it, yeah, he's the one who says, "All right, frame the shot," but it's just it comes down to the animators.
Well, no,
I guess that
a lot of his other movies are they have things so close in you can't tell what's going on.
Oh man, so that's probably his directive then.
Yeah,
but okay. So besides that, the stories just aren't very good.
Yeah, they're
like I said, the first one's passable, but the second one, the one that I ended up turning off about an hour in, is just the reason why I turned it off. It was like the 46th explosion. I'm like, there's absolutely no story here. There's nothing going on.
Yeah, but it has
I felt
a blockbuster, crowd drawing Shia LaBeouf in it, though.
No, but okay. I guess Netflix has sort of made movie watching somewhat disposable, because if you don't like a movie, you just shut it off.
Yeah.
But for me, shutting off a movie in 2009, I think is when it came out, like that was a big deal, because I think I might have just gotten Netflix at that point, really, but it's for me to have turned that movie off says a lot, because I did not turn movies off. I mean, to a certain extent, I don't even do that anymore. If I watch a shitty Netflix movie, I pretty much just make myself suffer through it so I can bitch about it. You know what I mean? Like, well, I'm going to pay my dues, so I have the right to complain about this shit. Well, but with the Transformers one, it was just so bad.
Well, do you remember, like, people might not remember this, but it's like, I spent $5 renting this movie. I'm going to fucking watch it no matter what.
Yeah. I think that's what it is. I think I rented it at Blockbuster, and that might have been why I was spitefully watching, most of the other movies. But I'm like, this isn't even worth $5, man.
It's like, to all the youngins that shouldn't be listening, Blockbuster was a place where you used to go and rent movies. You actually had to go.
You had to go there physically. I know, it's like Camelot.
Imagine a red box that you could walk inside.
That's really tight quarters, Jeffrey. No, it was like a whole big room full of movies.
And in some, there was a special other room.
Oh. Yeah, now we just watch that stuff for free. Come on now.
You actually had to suffer the embarrassment of going...
Of like slipping behind that door.
And coming out...
Quick. Coast is clear. Go, go, go!
And going up to the 16-year-old girl working behind the register. And then it's like, okay, balls deep, number 4. Okay. That was so embarrassing.
I know. The indignity of it all. Oh, yeah. Anyway. All right. Michael Bay. He sucks. I think we've established that. We hate him. Now, Jeff.
I still like The Rock.
Oh, God damn it, Jeff.
Sorry.
The Rock is okay-ish. But when's the last time you watched it?
Mainly would watch it we don't have cable. We haven't had cable for a while. But yeah, I used to. Oh, Roxanne, I watch that.
Yeah, because like I watched it. Like I just I'm like I remember sort of liking this movie. I'm gonna watch it, and I watched it for about 30 minutes before I had to change it because it just doesn't hold up very well.
Did he do Con Air too?
No, he didn't do Con Air. He did The Island with Ewan McGregor and Scarlett Johansson, which I watched only because of Scarlett Johansson, and even that didn't save it. Oh, Bad Boys. He did Bad Boys 1 and 2.
I'm on the minority. I didn't like Bad Boys, and I like Will Smith, and I like Martin Lawrence. But I didn't like Bad Boys.
I don't like Bad Boys. The first one, I remember watching it with my brother way back when it came out, I think in the theater. And we're like, oh, yeah, that was kind of cool. But like, we're not really like pumped about it. And then I remember renting the second one on VHS and going, what the fuck was that?
I prefer watching Blue Streak.
As far as Martin Lawrence films go, yeah. Probably. But there's so many better movies out there. But yeah, Michael Bay, man, he makes shitty movies. All right, so we did this with X-Men, Jeff. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about how we would fix a Transformers movie universe.
Uh-oh.
Firstly, what do you think?
Well, whenever there is a established mythology like they set up in the cartoons, I mean, you should probably draw from that to give it some depth and some nostalgia goggles.
I wouldn't expect it to be like slavishly adapted. Like with what Marvel does, they don't do things exactly like what's in the comics, but it's similar. Like you can definitely see it harkens to what came before. Whereas with the Transformers movies, they're just pulling the shit out of someone's ass. Yeah. Someone's dirty, rotten, smelly, syphilis-ridden asshole.
Oh, God. Ugh, that's gross.
And just conjure a mental picture for you, Jeffrey?
Yes, it did.
That was easy.
Asshole dripping some kind of green fluid.
Herpes, maybe?
I don't know. This is where my wife goes,
cheesy, frothy discharge?
Ew. This is where my wife goes, ew, ew, ew.
Anyway, all right, so the first thing we have to do is we have to get some screenwriters in who are going to respect the original mythology of the cartoon.
Yeah.
So maybe not slavishly adapted, but this is another problem I have is how the Transformers speak in the Michael Bay movies. Like in the first one, you had Jazz, who was like racist. Like
no.
it might as well just have been an actor in blackface.
No, you're thinking of the second one with those the two racist bot twins.
Well, that too. No, but like Jazz sounded like he was from the ghetto in the first one.
Yeah, but nothing compared to whoever the fuck those. I mean, that was like, oh my, that was like visibly shocking when I saw the number two and how.
Like I said, I turned that one off, so I guess I don't remember that. Maybe I didn't even see that part.
There were these two cars that were exactly the same but different color, and they were like twins, and it was so racist stereotype.
Well, and then you have
it was shocking. You need to watch.
We're not going to do any of that. How about that?
No blatant racism.
Let's just cut the whole racism thing out. Like that's not going to be good for our storytelling unless the Transformers are combating racism. Then that's cool.
So are they going to go get Michael Bay? Is that what you're talking about?
Oh.
Gonna go.
The villain of the new Transformers reboot is Michael Bay.
Everyone take a leg or an arm and now pull.
And pull. Drawn and quartered. Yeah. Okay, so what characters would you want? Would you want like the old style, new style? Which one are we thinking?
You could do a mix and match of the old and the new.
I would want to build it and almost treat it like they did for the first couple seasons of the Transformers cartoon, and then save those the later characters like Ultra Magnus and Hot Rod and whatever for later movies. That way you can weave them into the story.
That makes sense. I agree.
And so like Optimus Prime, of course. Like Ratchet, Wheeljack. I mean, I'm trying to think of the original cartoon. The characters I always just felt were integral to the story. Bumblebee.
Yes.
The Dinobots. Like, the Dinobots should have been in it from almost movie 2 at the very latest. You know what I mean? And then they just apparently introduced him in the last one. That sucked.
And one thing I didn't remember until I watched the movies is a lot of the Autobots and Decepticons had kind of horns.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to talk about the cartoon, Bumblebee and Cliffjumper both had those like Viking type horns.
Well, the way they look now, looking back on it, like Bumblebee and Cliffjumper, almost remind me a little bit of some of the samurai masks.
Yeah. So yeah, like I would love to see some like Perceptor, if you remember him.
He was in
the ambiguously gay robot.
He was the microscope and telescope guy, right?
Yes, yes. And I had his toy, and you wouldn't think playing with a fake microscope would be that much fun as a robot, but damn it, I discovered a lot of science that way.
We had a real microscope that had a thing you could project it onto the wall. That was cool.
That would be cool. Although that's a non sequitur.
Yes, I'm sorry. My nerd went, I remember something.
Like, within the year, we're probably going to have VR microscopes anyway, so who cares?
That'd be cool.
Our shit's outdated.
That'd be cool.
Anyway, so yeah, like I would love to see that. Like, I know Soundwave was in, I think, the second or third movie of Michael Bay, but like to have those guys, to have like maybe not the tapes, but have some way of incorporating, like, I don't know, even CDs are sort of like a lost technology, but a way of incorporating Ravage and Rumble and all those things. And they're like, because Rumble had those arms, both Frenzy and Rumble had the arms that could turn into like the shakers, and you can have like little mini earthquakes and shit.
Yeah.
Like that shit was cool, man. That shit was cool. Not Perceptor. One of the Transformers I always loved from the Decepticons, and I think you had them as well, were they like Blitzkrieg and Astro Train.
Yeah,
I fucking loved Astro Train.
I really liked the plane ones, the jet ones, because you could also
like
just
Ramjet and Dirge, Starscream, Thundercracker, Skywarp.
Yeah,
which you had a little bit of in the first couple movies as well, but they looked so terrible.
Well, it's because once they transformed, they lost all their personality. I mean, when they were in, their plane form or truck form or car form.
Well, I mean, the old ones look like F-15s, and then the movies, they looked like alien spacecrafts, and I was like, who cares?
Yeah. So basically, they really need to, maybe they don't need to go as far as the cartoons with how they look when they're transformed into a humanoid form, but they should do more with the coloration and the body exterior of the car becoming more incorporated into them.
I actually think that they could be much truer to the cartoon form. There's a video game that came out for like PS4 and Xbox One, all that shit, about a year ago. With a Transformers game, and it's meant to be like a G1 Transformers game with Optimus Prime and Sunstreaker and Sideswiper character, like Megatron. I think that's like the premise of the show is, or the game rather, is that the Insecticons are taking over everything, and even like Megatron's freaking out. And you play the game as these characters, these like Optimus or Sideswipe or whatever, but even in CGI, up against a realistic looking cityscape, I'm like, damn, those characters actually look pretty fucking good.
Well, probably the reason they did it the way they did is because they didn't want it to look cartoonish. So instead of looking cartoonish, it just looked like shit.
Shit.
It's like maybe you can find a happy middle ground there somewhere.
Yeah. I don't know. It's called Transformers Devastation, by the way.
And Megatron looked nothing like he looked in the cartoon.
No. And even like the Hugo Weaving played the voice in the first couple of films. I actually think Frank Welker took back over in the later films. But the idea is like, we want a star to be Megatron, and we think Frank Welker sounds too old. And I'm like, Frank Welker still plays Freddie Jones on Scooby-Doo, and he still sounds like fucking Freddie Jones on Scooby-Doo. Like, he doesn't sound too old. I know. Like, Frank Welker is like the most prolific voice actor that we've ever had, and probably will ever had in cinema, cartoon, video game history. And to say that he can't pull off the part that he originated is just like that tells you, it speaks to the idiocy that is Michael Bay.
Well, I bet a lot of people don't realize that it was Mark Hamill that did the voice of the Joker for years.
Well, I think people have actually caught on to that a lot better than they used to, though.
Well, I didn't.
Like, I just read like one of those BuzzFeed lists or IG9 or whatever the hell, or whatever the hell it was, IO9. That's what I meant. And they had like the top 20 Joker performances or top 10 or whatever the hell it was, and Mark Hamill came in number 1.
Sweet.
So like, you know, he's I think now in the last probably 4 or 5 years, his Joker has definitely caught up as far as respect. Like, yeah, people love Heath Ledger, but I think most people are like, yeah, Mark Hamill, fucking Joker. He's the dude.
I think we need to play the Stay on Target. Stay on Target.
Oh, because we're getting... No, it's cool. We're talking about voice acting. That's something I enjoy, learning about voice acting and the actors and whatnot, because so many of those voices that were in the Transformers series permeated every other cartoon through the 80s and 90s. And, of course, Frank Welker, Peter Cullen, the guy who does Optimus, Susan Blue. I mean, those are all people who were just in fucking everything. Jack Angel, the guy who did, like, Astro Train, was also in, like, Voltron and a bunch of other shit. So, and Michael Bell was Duke in G.I. Joe, and he was Prowl in Transformers. And, of course, Transformers was always, like, on, and then G.I. Joe always came on right after that. I always thought it was funny. It was like, why is Prowl in G.I. Joe? Like, back then it wasn't quite dawning. I recognized the voice because he did nothing to change his voice between the two characters.
I didn't really like G.I. Joe back in the day. I know that makes me weird, but...
You're anti-American. Why don't you just sit down during the American song, you Colin Kaepernick lover?
Is he the guy that didn't stand for the national anthem?
He didn't stand for the national anthem. Anyway, Chris Latta. Chris Latta is the guy who did Cobra Commander and Starscream too. So like those two were like inexorably tied together. You couldn't really have one without the other. And of course there was like a comic book where they actually teamed, like they had the Autobots and the Joes versus Cobra and Decepticons.
Starscream.
Like, that's some cool shit, man.
Starscream was like the ultimate whiny bitch backstabber.
Yeah, but you need one of those. I mean, there's always one of those around.
Yeah.
It's just like, I mean, even in Game of Thrones, he's there. He's just not whiny about it, and that's Littlefinger.
Yeah, true. Yeah, he's a backstabber for sure.
Yeah, I mean, he's. I mean, like if they were, maybe that's what they should do. They should just sort of like meld Transformers and Game of Thrones a little bit. We might get the movie we want.
If we were animators, make like a Game of Thrones, like pick our favorite episode and make like a whole Game of Thrones episode with Transformers instead of people.
That would be bitchin'.
And like the blue-eyed Decepticons coming down on shit. What was that? What was that place called? Hard Home.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
that's it. That's the one. Okay. Anyway, so any other fixes we would. I would also say, Jeff, I think part of the problem is Michael Bay was probably too old. Okay, like we have to acknowledge that Michael Bay was the wrong choice all along anyway. Like, he's a shitty director. There's no other excuse for it. He's a terrible director. So, find someone who was obviously more capable. But I think a big problem is that Michael Bay was too old to have grown up with Transformers. Like, he didn't understand it.
How old is he compared to us?
I want to say he's got to be about almost 60 by now.
Oh, yeah. Well, shit, yeah. Yeah.
Let me IMDb that real quick. Hold, please. Michael Bay. Who looks like... Michael Bay looks like Michael Bolton's slightly less attractive younger brother.
Really? Oh.
Which, that's also a problem. But no, he's 51.
Say he was too old.
So by the time Transformers, the cartoon, was coming out, he was 30.
Yeah.
Which means it's virtually impossible for him to have, because it's cool now to be geeky about cartoons and stuff, but in the 80s, if you were 30, you did not watch cartoons, so help you God.
Not unless you couldn't live near schools.
Yeah. Right.
My little pony.
Shit just got weird, Jeff. Shit just got weird. Anyway, so I think part of the problem is they're not finding a director. But, now you tap somebody who's, roughly our age, give or take 5 years, you're going to find someone who understands the property.
So who would you have direct it?
It would really depend. For me, it would completely depend. And I think Guillermo del Toro's sort of like an obvious choice because he loves the big robot thing.
Oh yeah,
I don't know how much of an affinity he has for Transformers as a property, but he could do it. He can do it well because I like Pacific Rim a lot.
The fight scenes in Pacific Rim are pretty badass. There's not too much of that.
All right, so him. I mean, I'm sure there are others out there, but he just seems the most obvious to me.
I'm drawing a blank. Dude who directed Lost and the new Star Trek.
Oh, J.J. Abrams?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think he could probably do it.
I think he's a little bit older than us. He might be outside of the range of people who I would say understand.
Yeah, but I think
I
think he could do it though.
Yeah. But here's the thing. When I watch Transformers, man, like, I want that heart back that I remember seeing in the original Transformers the movie. And one of the reasons why I found it so affecting is because, like, I felt what was going on, and I want a director who's going to be able to translate that and make me feel something.
It'll just be Transformers with lens flares.
Okay, so yeah, you just completely dissuaded me from J.J. Abrams. Nice job. Anyway.
Yeah, I like your choice, though. Because
all right.
Pacific Rim.
Well, we're open. Okay, we're open to negotiation, guys. We're up for anybody who's willing to do a good job, all right? All right. Well, Jeff, I think that ends our 30th anniversary Transformers the movie wrap. Have anything else to say?
Such heroic nonsense. Actually, I sound more like the Joker when I say that.
No, you sound more like Megatron than you think.
Okay, good.
I'm going to go with Till All Are One.
Till all are one. Yes.
There we go.
Alrighty.
All right.
Cut.
Buchaca is out.
Jeff is out.
Hello, cutie pie.
What is thy bidding, my master?
Listen to me very carefully.
You are mine now. You belong to me.
My nipples are very sensitive. Feel how soft my skin is.
Do it. Do it!
Ew, seriously? That is so gross.
There, fucker! Do you need assistance?
Kind of grabs you by the boo-boo, don't it?
More teens are having luck.
He has an erection.
Yeah. It's all her fault.
Then he got an idea. A wonderful, awful idea.
Seduction used to be an art. Now, of course, it's brutish and it's predatory. And here's what consent is. The person is severely intoxicated or unconscious as a result of alcohol or drugs, is physically or Developmentally disabled, the victim is under the age of 13 or is elderly. So as long as the girl's 13, she can give consent for sex, provided it's creative and enthusiastic.
You keep using the word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
No means yes if you know how to spot it.
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life.
I am not gay. I never have been gay.
He says he's not gay, but let's see what a few drinks and a back massage will do to him, huh? What do you think? Me? You, the old lady, a little sandwich action?
Okay. But I get to be on top.
Ow! Let me guess, you dropped the soap.
Please take that out of my ass.
You're in more dire need of a blowjob than any white man in history.
Gross, right in the fucking eyeball.
Because it really does make you feel like you're inside this 11-year-old girl.
In a profoundly wholesome way.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. May God have mercy on your soul.
I think you are filth. I think you are scum. You are a degenerate.
I'm not a pervert.
Okie dokie.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
My balls. Big old floppy donkey dick. All right. I think I'm ready.
All right. Let's do this shit.
Earbud popped out. Oh yeah. Okay.
You're still here?
It's over. Go home. Go.